a pepper, he's a pepper, she's a pepper, we're a pepper. Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too?
Hello and welcome to the Dr. Pepper Museum and Free Enterprise Institute's January Professional Development. This is one of many videos that the museum has created to help teachers connect economics to their classroom in a relevant way. Our goal is to share with you some ways to connect economics concepts like free enterprise, entrepreneurship, financial literacy to your classroom procedures and lessons that you're already teaching. We just share with you information that we found that it's helped us here at this museum. At the Dr. Pepper Museum, we don't just teach about the soda industry, we teach about how the soda industry works in relation to economics, and we teach how businesses work through the story of Dr. Pepper. And so we hope to help you do that. Today's topic will be all about entrepreneurship, which is a fan favorite. It's something that everybody wants to hear about and talk about these days, and so it's something that we really enjoy sharing with our guests and students and teachers. And so today I'll be sharing just a couple of different programs and approaches that we've learned really work for us that maybe you can apply to your classroom. Please remember that after watching this, you're going to complete the survey if you would like CPE credits. Within 2 weeks, we'll give that back to you with the certificate that you can use to redeem those credits. And so keep that in mind. Make sure to fill out that survey to let us know how we're doing, but also get your CPE credits from this show. Also, any content that we're talking about, if we relate to any kind of documents, will be provided in our email or on our website. And so check out our website to find those resources or more videos if you haven't seen them yet. And we have a ton of other resources for you. So let's go ahead and get started. This one is all about inspiring entrepreneurship. And we hope to show you some ways that you can, in your classroom, inspire your students to be entrepreneurs or have an entrepreneurial approach to problem solving. But this museum doesn't just do professional development. We can help you in a lot of ways, and we're here to do that. That's our job, support you. And so we help with economics education primarily, though we do have some history content and science content as well. We have virtual field trips, free virtual tour on our website, free lesson plans, and monthly teacher professional development like this one, as well as in the future or in a normal year, we have field trips in person and professional development in person and outreach. So check out our website to find out more about that. So with inspiring entrepreneurship, we really want to enable you as a teacher to inspire your students, because this may be the only place that they get this information. And where entrepreneurship as a career isn't for everybody, the problem-solving skills and the innovative ideas that come from entrepreneurship can be very helpful to everyone. And so we want everyone to not only know of this as a career option, but also learn about different characteristics that they can apply to their life, and they can solve their own problems with this entrepreneurial personality and this entrepreneurial approach to problem solving. So what is entrepreneurship? There are a lot of definitions to entrepreneurship, but this is the one that the museum prescribes to the most and tries to engage in, because it does have such a broad idea. Though please check out more definitions or make your own that applies to your goal in your classroom. An entrepreneur is an individual who creates a new business, bearing most of the risk and enjoying most of the rewards. The entrepreneur is commonly seen as an innovator, a source of new ideas, goods, services, and business or procedures. Remember, an entrepreneur is somebody with these wonderful, innovative ideas and ability to problem solve. So even if you're not a career entrepreneur, you may have these personalities or apply this type of approach to your career. As a teacher, we do a lot of innovating and a lot of improvising and a lot of problem solving. So you have these entrepreneurial characteristics in your role as an educator. Entrepreneurship education prepares students to address challenges and opportunities. We hope that students will approach whatever they come in contact with and whatever problems they have in their lives with an entrepreneurial perspective. We hope that they face challenges with innovative problem solving, and we hope that they embrace the opportunities that they're given. So how can you bring entrepreneurship education to your class? There are a couple ways to do that we'll talk about here. So one is that you can have classroom challenges. Two, you can have entrepreneurship programs incorporated in your classroom, or just share them with your parents so that they can then take that and run it with their students if their students are motivated to do so. And we'd also want to bring entrepreneurs into your classroom. Have your students meet an entrepreneur, interview an entrepreneur. And so these are three approaches. There are plenty more. And entrepreneurship is, like many economics topics, something that is well funded. Economics, at least, is something that a lot of companies, banks fund professional development like this one, and teaching resources like the ones we provide to teach about economics. And entrepreneurship is no different. There are a ton of free programs for teachers and students all over the world that help you teach entrepreneurship. So please don't stop here. Learn more. These are just three, but it's definitely a topic that is well funded and very diverse. There's a lot of different options for how you can teach this, and it's not going to work for everyone. So find what you like and do more research. This is just a few of my suggestions and things that have worked for us and schools in our community. So the first thing is those classroom challenges. We want to inspire innovative problem solving, just like entrepreneurs. When they approach a challenge, they have an innovative way to solve that. And so there's a lot of ways to do this. I was a kindergarten teacher, and we have a lot of station work, of course, so a lot of elementary classrooms. If you have stations, whether it's, STEM stations or English and history, incorporate a problem solving element to that. Something as easy as a bunch of found objects and then asking them to invent or design a tool that includes those found objects is a way to inspire that creative problem solving. And so I've listed a few here. So there's always one for each subject, So we have STEM challenges. We've all seen this before when you ask students to build a chair out of paper that can hold the weight of a small stuffed animal, or ask them to make a bridge out of toothpicks, or if you ask them to problem solve using a brain teaser. STEM is one that is really easily connected to this creative problem solving, and it's really fun to do. So you can start with something as easy as asking them to invent something or design a problem and a solution, or you can ask them to physically make something. That's what entrepreneurs do. We have these entrepreneurs who are making inventions and then running with them as their own business. In the same way, you can ask your students to invent something or find a solution, create a solution to a scientific problem or a normal day-to-day problem that you can solve with science or math, and then ask them to then sell that product. Okay, if you were going to sell this, how would you persuade people to buy your product? Suddenly you're incorporating English as well. We also encourage people to use history challenges. I've mentioned this in previous professional development. A lot of times we think that because something's already happened, we don't need to try to problem solve with that. That couldn't be further from the truth. We learn from history, and then we can apply that in the future. So go ahead and give your students a problem that was faced in history and ask them to solve it themselves. What would you do? For example, a lot of times we might show them an economic situation. This country has these limited resources. What would you do to solve that problem? They don't have any water, but they do have this particular food product. You can use an alien planet if you'd like. That way they don't really know which country you're talking about or what actually happened. Many times teachers choose to have a fictional town or a fictional country and tell a story about what's happening in that country that almost directly mirrors a country or a historic event in reality. And this fictional city or this fictional country is dealing with this problem that seems impossible, and your students will create amazing solutions. This is a great warm-up. This is a great project. So whatever you need, big or small, this is a great way to incorporate history into this entrepreneurial problem-solving tactic. And so we want them to use creative solutions to solve everyday problems, and many times that's looking at historic events. This doesn't connect directly to business, though I suppose you could if your students are being really creative with it, because a lot of economic issues can apply to this, but it does promote that same problem-solving skill that we want. So don't be afraid to use problem solving in other areas that don't necessarily connect to entrepreneurship. That still develops that characteristic. My favorite one is advertising challenges. Here at the museum, we teach a lot about marketing and advertising because of Dr. Pepper. And you can show your students some creative advertising that took a lot of creative and innovative approaches to figure out. For example, Dr. Pepper was having trouble selling bottles in the late 50s during the winter. When it was cold outside, nobody wanted a cold drink. So the CEO, who was upset that his sodas were not selling, talked to a delivery truck driver and said, hey, like, why aren't you selling bottles? Like, you gotta sell bottles. And they said, I can't. It's cold outside. Nobody wants to drink a beverage when it's cold outside that is also cold. It makes them more cold. And so the CEO went home and created a new version of Dr. Pepper. He heated Dr. Pepper up and tried different combinations until he found hot Dr. Pepper. Hot Dr. Pepper is just Dr. Pepper boiled in a pot, just a little bit. So until it steams, don't let it turn to candy or burn. And then poured over a thin slice of lemon. If you haven't tried it already, definitely try it. It's not my favorite drink, but it's not bad. Here at the museum, we make hot Dr. Pepper floats, and my favorite combination is hot Dr. Pepper hot chocolate. This has nothing to do with our problem solving, but it's so good. It's a cupful of milk, cupful of Dr. Pepper, 4 tablespoons of instant hot chocolate. You will not regret it, especially when it's so cold outside right now. But Dr. Pepper is a great example for innovative advertising. Dr. Pepper created this product, hot Dr. Pepper, but then they had to advertise it. And they had to advertise hot Dr. Pepper differently than other versions of Dr. Pepper because it was served differently. It was at a different time of the year, it was a different temperature, and it was for a different group of people. They actually served and advertised Dr. Pepper as a holiday tradition for half of their target audience, saying that if you wanted to have a wonderful Christmas this year, you're going to need to drink hot Dr. Pepper. They would use a totally different advertising campaign with Devilishly Different, showcasing a cute little devil figure for the other target audience. And so we have all this creative problem solving for a product, but then it was followed by very creative advertising. And again, we're going to see this all the time in every product and every media. And so if you'd like to do this with your students, you'll just ask them to watch a commercial. Pull up your favorite commercial and have them watch it and evaluate for like, oh, why is this so creative? And be impressed by that. Then do my favorite activity. Come up with a really gross or useless product. You can do this in a lot of ways. You can put a whole bunch of adjectives and nouns in a bag and then draw them, and each group draws a certain amount of nouns or adjectives and puts them together to make something new. For example, we have a game here at the museum where they draw different nouns out first, and so it might be like toilet, skateboard, hat. And then the adjective might be smelly. And you need to invent something new that is a toilet, skateboard, hat that is smelly. Why would anybody want to buy that? And you have to make your advertisements for that nasty or useless product. And so it creates this really creative and fun environment where students are having the greatest time making these funny things, but then they have to advertise it, which includes so much persuasive writing and that really innovative thinking that we want students to have. So what I'd recommend, give your student a weird product. If you bring in a really weird bottle, so just like take a bottle of soda, put a funny label on it that says sardine soda. Say like, hey guys, I want you to sell this to me. Like, make an advertisement to try to sell this to somebody, or we're going to sell it to our principal, and we need to persuade them to buy this product, or have them draw nouns and adjectives and combine them to make some kind of weird product that they then have to advertise. Either way, your students are using that creative problem solving in this very comical activity that they'll just love. My students loved it. And they were 8th grade students, and they were never engaged with anything, and they loved this activity. So if you have the opportunity and you want to do this innovative problem solving, that is a great way to incorporate media literacy and persuasive writing. And then last, economics challenges. Again, this is something that is really directly related to entrepreneurship. So give them a certain amount of money and then a list of different prices and ask them to create a business out of it, or create a budget for a party, or create a shopping list. You can use real life prices with real life websites and stores that they go to every day, and ask them to problem solve. You have $50. You can't buy everything. What do you want to do? So you can do this from a financial literacy standpoint where they are using money. You can also do it from an entrepreneurship standpoint, though, where you're asking them to directly create a business with a limited amount of money. We do this with our virtual field trip. So if you're interested in that, we do have a virtual field trip where students create their own soda shops to learn about the budgeting that takes place and the decision making and the problem solving about it. You cannot buy everything. You cannot have everything. What are you going to do? You need to create this drink. You need to sell it. You need to advertise it. You have to make choices. What choices are you going to make, and how can you advertise this creatively? And so if that's something you're interested in, you can either choose to create something yourself, ask your students to create a budget using a common website or a store that they're familiar with, or you can download our virtual field trip and do the same thing, create a business. Either way, we want students to be making creative decisions and innovative choices with economics. This is a great way to make sure that students are directdirectly getting that entrepreneurship idea. The next thing you can do is engage your students in an entrepreneurship program. There are a lot of these. Again, this is a really well-funded topic. This is something that a lot of really creative people are really into, and so they make really creative programs for your students to get involved in. So this is an excellent way to engage your parents and community as well as your students. And so if you live in an area where teachers and parents have really great relationships, and your parents are really interested in helping out here, these programs are wonderful. If you live in a community where you have students who are engaged in school programs throughout the summer, or if parents are asking for suggestions during the summer, look at these entrepreneurial programs. They're fun, they're engaging, your students are going to be learning and not really even know it. And so some of these programs are really direct about their different economics principles and concepts and budgeting, and others are a little bit more abstract or more based on that creative problem solving. But either way, your students are getting real world experiences and they're having a lot of fun doing it. So I'd really encourage you to look into these entrepreneurship programs, if only for suggestions for your parents. But you can also use them in your classroom. A lot of these are made for classes, different things that incorporate lesson plans and classroom projects, or have suggestions for ways you can accommodate these programs to fit your class. So please explore these, but there are so many more than that. And so I'd encourage you to look at my options, but then of course, do your own research, because there are so many, and you might find that there's one in your community. Again, entrepreneurship is something that a lot of people love right now. So please consider checking out what's in your community as well as the options that I'll give you. So one of the programs that the Dr. Pepper Museum has worked with in the past and really enjoys the different curriculum and learns from often is Youth Entrepreneurs, or YE. This is a fabulous organization that works directly with classrooms in helping foster entrepreneurship in classes. They have curriculum, they have resources for you, they have projects for every age level. So no matter what you're teaching, this is a great resource for you, and I'd really encourage you to reach out to them. If you check out their website, this is a national program, and they have everything from like low commitment lesson plans and things like that to big organizational things that your students can get involved in. They have summits and they have teacher professional development. And so please check them out. They are really cool and they are constantly growing and they're very supportive. You probably have a representative in your area who would love to talk to you one-on-one and figure out how your students can get involved. And so please check out YE. They are really great. And I hope that this is something that will help you. So check out if there's a local representative in your area that can answer questions for what programs are offered in your area. It is different in different places, and they seem to be really, really good at accommodating things to fit your needs. The teachers that I've spoken to and the representative in our area was incredibly helpful with us. And so they really understand teachers and where teachers are at. Many of them are teachers themselves. And they understand how to make their programs accommodate to what you need and make their programs something that engage students in real life entrepreneurship while also meeting state standards and what teachers need out of these programs. And so Youth Entrepreneurs is a great one. We're commonly referred to as YE. They have a lot out there, so make sure to check them out. The second is Venture Lab. Again, this is a very similar one where they have a lot of really cool resources out there. They also have teacher programs. They also have fabulous resources and things on their website that you can download and use, many of which are free. And so please check it out. It's wonderful. I've gotten a lot of lesson plans from them that I can base my programs off of. And so Venture Lab is also a really great one for those resources. Then you have Boss Club. This is one for your parents at home. This is something where similar to a book club where you get a box, or if you get Blue Apron or something like that, it comes in a box, a kit that then has everything your student needs to be an entrepreneur. It helps them start up their business. It has a curriculum for parents to use, and it also has all the resources that kids are going to use. And so it's a very step-by-step process that helps parents and kids approach entrepreneurship. And so it allows students to be the boss of their own business and experience entrepreneurship. And so Boss Club is something that is local to Texas. So check it out if you're in the area. It is a really great way for your parents and kids at home to get involved. They may also have resources for teachers and for your class. So if you're interested in that, you can contact them. I've had a lot of really great experiences just reaching out to them directly. And so go ahead and reach out to Boss Club if you're interested for your classroom. But also programs like this are a really easy way for your parents to get involved, because as I'm sure you know, a lot of times parents really, really want to engage with their students and help them with these topics at school. They're just not sure where to start. And programs like this are really fun and allow for bonding and family time that can't be found in other places. That's centered around learning. And it's something that I found, or entrepreneurship as a whole and business is something that I found that many parents are very comfortable with, as opposed to a lot of subjects in school that they're not comfortable with, they haven't heard about or really have any interest in. Business and something as simple as a lemonade stand are something that parents find really approachable, and it's something that they understand and know because it's something in their daily lives. And so whereas some subjects might feel daunting for parents, this is something that parents like to get involved in. And I know we would all love for our parents to get more involved with our students. And so I'd highly suggest checking out Boss Club for your parents. We also have Lemonade Day. This is something for both the parents and for classrooms, as it does kind of work with both depending on your area. Just like with our first program, Youth Entrepreneurs, Lemonade Day is something that's managed regionally, and it is a really cool program. If you haven't heard of it already, check out the website. This is another structured way to do entrepreneurship, kid entrepreneurship. Essentially, an individual child or a group of children opens up a lemonade stand. They invent their own lemonade and marketing plan. They collect their finances and they record things, and then they're part of a nationwide competition. And then one day, the community and really nationally, people are invited to come and go shopping and purchase lemonade at all these different stands in their community. This is something that is really widespread and very well supported. And in our own community, it's just really fun to see kids out there at their lemonade stands. Again, this is something parents really enjoy doing with their kiddos and kids really love. And it has a curriculum that walks either the parent or a teacher through it. In our region, we actually have a representative who really helps as we do this. And we do have a lot of classrooms or whole grade levels that choose to do this. Lemonade Day is on a weekend though, so keep that in mind that you will need some parent volunteers to help out with each of those tables on the weekends. But you'll find that a lot of businesses, especially like Raising Cane's, which partners nationally with this, are there to help and support, provide funding, and provide a storefront to house your kids' lemonade stand. And so all of these programs are wonderful and they help you out a lot. Again, my goal is not to give you more work. It's to help you have these resources and support you in this really difficult thing that you're doing. And so this economic stuff, it's not for everybody, and it can be really difficult to incorporate. But luckily, there's a lot of stuff out there to help us do this. And so please check out some of these businesses. You can also just Google Entrepreneurship Program for Kids, and you will find a lot in your area. Lastly, I would really recommend interviewing an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are really enthusiastic people usually. They're creative and they're fun, and there are a lot of them out there who are excited to share their idea and their ventures. Many of them either had difficulty in school or just didn't know that this was an option. And so they love talking to school kiddos, and it is really inspirational to have your students hear from an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are all over, and they have all different personalities and all different skill sets, and that allows your students to see that any of them could be a great entrepreneur, that this is a career field for anyone, that everyone has the potential to do this. And many times if you have a student, I know I did, who feels uncomfortable with certain subjects or has difficulty in school, and so their confidence was kind of hurt by that. This is amazing, because you might have an entrepreneur in your community who can look them in the eye and say, I did too, I had trouble with this. In the same way, you might have an entrepreneur in your community who the way that they got there is by being studious and working hard and having perseverance there. And so learning from these people who do this really hard job with creativity and optimism and perseverance is really great. On the flip side, your students will get to see somebody in their community doing a job, which many times the only jobs their students see are their parents, which they don't really see it, they just know about it, and their teachers. And then of course their dentists and doctors. And so let's go ahead and show them another job. Hearing from community helpers for little ones is great, but also hearing about different career paths for older students is amazing. You may find that this entrepreneur and many of the ones that I've worked with in the past are really excited to continue working with classrooms. We've had the opportunity to facilitate interviews and conversations between numerous entrepreneurs and classrooms in the past, and this year we did our virtual program, and it was really great and influential to see our entrepreneurs from our community inspiring kiddos. And we had many entrepreneurs from many different backgrounds, from a cookie food truck to a financial advisor. All these people who have very different backgrounds and skill sets were able to make a difference. Many of them suggested things like, oh, well, what do I do to get better? Oh, I read. I read every day for 30 minutes. No matter what day it was or how I'm feeling, I read. What teacher doesn't want their students to hear that? We have a lot of people who say, I had to find creative solutions, or it's okay to fail. I failed all the time before I got it right, and even then I still fail, but the difference is that I didn't give up. We have a lot of people talking about perseverance, creativity. They talk about having confidence in themselves and gaining that confidence over time. And all of these things are wonderful for your students to hear. these are all really, really important. A few suggestions as you look for an entrepreneur. You can connect your classroom to them in any way so choose. What we do here at the museum is interviews with an entrepreneur. So we have lesson plans and curriculum that I'll provide on our website for students to create their own questions, and then the teacher creates a list of questions. You give it to the entrepreneur ahead of time. Entrepreneur knows what they're going to say, and then you have a nice interview where your students get to ask questions of this member of their community, this entrepreneur. And so these pretty easy activities for a teacher to do are really cool for your students because they're talking to an entrepreneur, this, mythic person from their community who, made the restaurant that they love or this product that they enjoy. Whatever it is, your students are excited because it's relevant, it's real, it's a real person out there, and they get to ask them questions. And then preparing that entrepreneur with those questions is incredibly important. On the other side, you could just ask an entrepreneur to come speak to your class. Share with them what you're doing. Or if you're going to a field trip anyway in the area, you may want to stop by their place of work. Just make sure to let the entrepreneur know ahead of time and speak with them about this. You can find a lot of entrepreneurs in your community through entrepreneurial organizations. The one that we really work with here is 1 Million Cups. This is a national organization. You'll find it all over. It's a weekly meeting where a entrepreneur shares with other entrepreneurs in their community or prospective entrepreneurs about what they've learned from their experience and ask for help. And they just work as a community together to support one another, because as entrepreneurs, you don't always have those coworkers to lean on. And so it's a community of entrepreneurs. But the great thing is these are entrepreneurs who are excited to help one another and want to inspire. And so they are great entrepreneurs to reach out for you in your classroom. So check out 1 Million Cups or just search a entrepreneurial community within your community, because you will find that entrepreneurs, many of them are excited to share what they are doing and excited to inspire kiddos. And so please check that out. Definitely look for an entrepreneur organization, because you might have many entrepreneurs who want to talk to your class or grade level. Or just find one or two. You can email and ask them for suggestions. They're go-getters. They're excited to work with you. Just make sure to have a clear plan for what you're going to do with them, which as teachers, we're pretty good at that. And make sure that if your students are interviewing, that you give them those questions ahead of time, because entrepreneurs love to kind of know where it's going usually. So their creativity is something that you guys can really benefit from in these classroom projects. All right, with that, we are done for the day. This does allow for some time afterwards, and that's very intentional. We'd like you to check out the websites that we've suggested here, and we have them linked in the email and then available on our website. You can also just search the name of the organization. And so we encourage you to check out challenges that you can use in your classroom. We have a few suggestions and lesson plans available. We also have the list of fabulous organizations that allow projects or allow your kids to be entrepreneurs. You can do that with our virtual field trip, or you can check out Lemonade Day, Boss Club, Youth Entrepreneurs, all those. There are a ton of programs out there. So use this extra time to look up our resources or other programs that can help you in your community. And finally, check out an entrepreneurship community in your community and see if there's an entrepreneur who can speak with your class. Something like a pen pal or an interview, or just talking with your class or visiting their worksite will do wonders for your students and give them a really good idea of what an entrepreneur is. So this leftover time for this hour is for you to do some research for yourself. So after you're done doing your research as much as you'd like, make sure to complete that survey so you can get your CPE credits.